there are problems that people have that they can't handle. They can't win, right? Battles that they can't win, like, God forbid, cancer. Yeah? What does it mean they can't win? They die? That doesn't mean they lost. It means the battle ended. Doesn't mean they lost the battle. What would winning be? A person has a terrible disease, and he can either win or lose.
What do you mean making the best of the time you have?
If the disease destroys his menschlichkeit, then he lost. If the disease makes him more of a mensch, he won. He beat the disease. Does that mean he's going to live forever? No. He won the war, and the war is over. So he dies. So death is not a failure in any case. Even, God forbid, a person successfully kills himself. That's that certainly sounds like a lost battle, right? How long do people suffer from suicidal thoughts before they kill themselves? Years. Years. For years he was winning the battle because he kept saying no. And in many ways it made him or her more sensitive and more sympathetic and more. In many ways they won the battle for years. Then the battle was over, so they died. That is not a failure. In the very same way, if you live to be 99 and then you die, so you lost? You didn't lose. You lived a good life and now it ended. The end of life is not a failure, even if it's not 99. So we can't dismiss people who struggle and then die. That struggle was their victory. Death? They can't control death. Nobody asked you to control death. So if you can't control how long you live, that means you failed? That's ridiculous.
It's the idea that Hashem, after people commit suicide, they don't go to hell or heaven. They just stay, like in between.
That's if they committed suicide spitefully or arrogantly.
Really? It's not because of it's just because of specific reasons?
Yeah, I mean, if it was a sin, the sin of suicide, but if it was weakness and loss of control, it's not a sin.
That's a lot nicer to hear. You agree? It's nicer to hear that it's not because Hashem gave us a challenge, and then when we can't handle the challenge, He's like, "Okay, sorry, you can't come." It's nicer to hear that, because that's what it sounds like when we're taught it. And when it's being taught to us, it sounds like if you kill yourself, then Hashem won't accept you. That's what it feels like, and if it's not like that, then why is it taught like that?
In principle, it is that way. If you're talking to a normal human being, a healthy human being, and you say, if you kill yourself, you are the worst and most selfish person in the world. That's true. Because why are you killing yourself?
Selfish reasons. Depression.
Huh?
Usually, if you feel like killing yourself because of depression, you're not asking for depression.
But the commandment was not addressed to a person who's depressed.
Right.
It's addressed to a person who would kill himself just to prove a point. But if it's from a depression, if it's from a burden, if it's from being worn down, the mitzvah is not addressed to him. Just like you can't eat chazer. It's the only thing left for you to eat? Of course eat it. You can't eat chazer when there's something else to eat. That's why in the description it said, these animals are kosher, these are not. In other words, you have a selection. But when there's no selection, there's just chazer to eat it.
but yet you still can't bow to an idol to save your life.
Right. Or commit adultery.
Or kill another.
Mm-hmm.
It's an idol. Like,
You're like,
if someone
it-
loves you, they don't care if you're bowing down to someone.
Isn't that proving a point? Killing yourself for proving a point? Wouldn't that be killing yourself to prove a point? Not like.
Yeah, but then shouldn't God not want
No,
you?
consider, yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
you can be
If-
God. Maybe I'll have a better marriage.
If a man really loves his wife, would he really be angry at her for having a boyfriend?
To save her life? No.
Hmm?
He would rather her die than her having to have, like, a boyfriend.
Oh my god, I think he would rather her die.
Then what
I
if
think it's more painful to know that your wife is literally like with another guy. Like,
But if you love them, you want them to die.
It's a backwards way of thinking.
it's I mean,
It's more like if you would you like not live your life after someone raped her, kind of thing. But because like you're being forced to do that about an idol or to be killed. So would you love your wife? It's like that. It's not like. What do you mean?
no, I have no clue. You just said.
It's
No,
not
it's
it's not like oh we just chose to have a boyfriend whatever. It's not like like if would you rather would you hate your wife if she got a boyfriend? Would you hate your wife if she got raped? No. If I'm being forced to bow to an idol, if I'm being forced to either bow to an idol or be like or die, you gonna stop loving me?
So ask yourself this question. Hashem says, if someone asks you to bow to an idol, don't do it even if he kills you. But then a person does bow to the idol. What does the Eibishter think?
You don't care.
Huh?
And you don't care? No.
Again, the Eibishter is more of a mensch, not less of a mensch, right? So he says, rather than bow to an idol, you should die, and you don't. What would he say? Thank you.
So it's like a test.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, I don't understand it anymore.
Me neither.
Let me give you an
Do
example.
I die or do I bow to the idol? Which one do I choose?
A king is angry at his son, and he tells his soldiers to kill the son. The soldiers are, and they don't. What should the king do with those soldiers?
Such a commandment.
No, he should thank him because it was an impulsive decision. No,
Not because it was impulsive.
he just hates the son. Got it.
You let it punish the soldiers, no?
He would kill
So-
soldiers.
And thank them at the same time
Why?
for saving your son.
But like if you
That's
look
so
at
twisted.
it's so twisted. Like it's like how like that Shaul when he didn't want the other people to kill him, so he asked his servant to kill him, and then that servant had to get killed because he killed him. It's like that. It's so twisted. Like he literally listened to a direct commandment from Shaul to kill him, and he didn't want to do it. And he said you have to do it because I'm your king. And he did it, and then he gets killed for doing what he was told to do.
So do I die if I bow down to an idol?
What?
Do I die if I bow down to an idol?
If you choose to die rather than bow to an idol, you're amazing. If you choose not to die, thank you.
You're human.
In other words, even when dying is right, God doesn't like it. So if you get around it somehow, he'll thank you, even though you violated the commandment. The same thing like tshuva. How does tshuva help? You spit in his face for 50 years, and you say, okay, I'm sorry, and it's all good. What happened to all the punishments you're supposed to get? He doesn't want to punish you. He's hoping, give him half an excuse and he'll cancel the punishment.
It's like when you want your friend to just apologize for something, and then you're mad at her, but then she doesn't apologize. So you get more and more mad at her, until eventually she you know what I mean? I'm just talking from experience. What?
So here's the point of today's conversation. I think we're coming to one conclusion. We completely misunderstand God. have no idea. It's like this girl who thinks her mother hates her because she's always pestering her and always criticizing her and then finds out that every night her mother cries herself to sleep because she's so worried about her daughter. And then the daughter says, "Whoa, I didn't know that. I had no idea. I thought you were just this mean control freak trying to control my life." That's how we think about God, like some kind of control freak. Sitting back in his lounge chair, watching us suffer.
I have to know what's about us.
Just to say, even if my mom cries at night, it still doesn't give her the right to control that way.
But it's very, again, it sounds twisted, like,
It's twisted. It's
being
like
mean, then crying at night, like, I should feel bad and, like, listen
Emotional
anyway.
abusive?
Yeah.
Emotionally.
No. Once you find out that she cries at night, you realize she's not abusive. She's frantic about you. It's not abusive.
No, like,
she's just obsessed with me because I'm her world.
So what should we call the mitzvahs? Commandments?
You have a word in mind, don't you?
life skills.
No, love and fear. Lover. Lover.
Love commandments.
Lover.
What was it?
Lovers?
Where coming
La
from?
fear.
Love.
La fear.
Oh, la fear.
La fear.
It's like a French word.
Laissez faire.
Lucifer. Lucifer.
No, laissez
You just
faire.
said Lucifer.
So they should live in fear.
Laissez faire.
Okay. Makes sense though.
I think it should be called vulnerabilities. Every mitzvah that God gives us, He's telling us that He is vulnerable in this area.
Oh, his pet peeves.
What?
It's his pet peeves. You know what I mean? Like,
But
I
you're
don't-
vulnerable, yeah.
I don't
you're-
like people who chew with their mouth
Yeah.
open, and it's my pet peeve. He doesn't like when we eat pork. It's his pet peeve.
And what is it
That's
about a
pretty much
pet peeve?
It's because it's like
This-
The pet peeve is not negotiable. You can't say, "Oh, well, stop it." Don't be annoyed by it. You can't. You can't. So when the Torah says, "Don't eat these animals" or "Don't work on Shabbos," we can say to God, like, "Get over it. I know it bothers you if I work on Shabbos, but grow up, get over it." Can't get over it. That's why it's a vulnerability. A vulnerability means this is not negotiable. This is what I am, and I. So, who would have thought that God is so vulnerable? On the other hand, weren't we created in His image?
we're the replica of him.
So, where did we get our vulnerability from?
From him.
The bad
So then we just
genes.
have like, if I'm so vulnerable and I'm so sensitive, everything, then like I feel really bad for God because I'm super sensitive. So like He must be like,
Ultra.
yeah,
Mega.
ultra. But it doesn't ultra.
Is feeling bad for God a good thing?
No, I feel bad for myself. Okay, no.
This is a different cover.
That's not
An
a.
hour.
No,
That-
I'm saying like I feel bad for Hashem just because like imagine you put all this work and effort into a world and like all you want is like for your people to like become like a certain thing, like to do something with your world, like make it a better place, and all we want is for like Him to leave us alone. No offense, like I love God, but like, I'm saying like all we want is like just let me do this, like just let me do this one thing. You know what I mean? Like give me an exception. No? What do you mean? Like, just let me eat this ice cream, even though it's not like glatt kosher, healthy style. Let me just eat this OUD ice cream. I mean, I don't know if you guys eat OUD, but not that I'm putting you guys. Okay, just let me eat this trape ice cream all the way.
And He's thinking,
Thank you.
And he's thinking, no, and I'm thinking, but why not?
what is He thinking?
You know what he's thinking?
Say, I'll still love you, but it's just gross of you.
What is He thinking?
I want it even more. Right?
What does he want?
He wants ice cream even more. If she wants it, then he wants it even more.
Oh no, wait. Does that mean
Right? No, I thought that wasn't the point.
You're asking, just let me do this. Just give me this. He's thinking, just give me this.
Oh,
It's the same thing.
I think it's so simple. Yeah.
so not simple at the same time because he's
No,
not
you're
a
making
physical
it
thing.
No, it's
He's
called
more,
simple.
not less.
I know he's more, but like for my husband, like when I actually get married, like it'd be easier to be like, hey, fine, I won't soak my soup because like I see him and I see how much it's just like, please stop. But like
Now, so people,
with God, with
children who say, oh, God really needs you to do the mitzvah? Yeah. Really? Yeah. What, he's going to die if I don't do it? And you say, no, he's not going to die. Okay, so he doesn't need it. That's so childish. On the contrary, if he really, really needs you to keep Shabbos, and if you don't, he'll die, okay, then it'll be over. He won't die. That makes it worse.
oh,
Right?
yeah.
He'll continue to suffer endlessly. He's not just going to die.
So he's anyway suffering from other people. Or does he care if I do it also?
I
You know what I
know.
mean? Because like there's more more
Right, so if somebody you like has enemies, you figure, one more enemy isn't going to hurt. Everybody hates you already, so I might as well hate you too.
What do you understand? Oh, I know something I like. I would just like that. Like I'll hate their enemies. Wait.
So when we saw, what is it? Ka'ayol tareg alafike moyim, like a deer thirsts for water in a desert, I thirst for God. Really? What, are you going to die without?
That's
Without-
what that means.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, I like it.
Like you always hear it. Like I
What is
don't know.
it? Should I keep that again? Please?
Ka'ayol tareg in
Oh,
Tehillim.
that song.
No.
No.
What song? We'll sing just later. That's
Okay.
nice.
So the fact that he's not going to die doesn't make him less needy. It makes him permanently needy. A human being will finally die and he won't need anything.
Oh, so it's like when people are freezing to death. You know, like it's really cold and really it's so painful. And then, like the people who survive, they say like right and like as they die, it gets warm. It doesn't bother after like the pain doesn't it goes away. Like they're fine. And like the ones who survive tell us this. So like it's like that. It's like while you're alive, while you're it's still painful. But once you die, it's like who cares?
Hmm.
I'm not starving anymore. I don't need water anymore.
So we say the Eibishter that carries us like an eagle carries its babies.
I'm so sorry.
The eagle carries its babies on its back. Because if somebody's going to shoot at him, most birds carry their babies in their claws. But then if somebody's shooting, who's going to get shot?
Baby.
The baby. So the eagle puts the babies on its back and says, better the arrow should go into me than into the baby.
But why should
Then they
how is
both
the
go down.
how is the eagle aware
So,
of this? Of us?
It's an instinctive. So Hashem says, when I took you out of Mitzrayim, I carried you like an eagle. So the question is, what's the comparison? What is it? God is afraid to get shot? He's risking his life for us? The eagle risks his life for his baby. So what are you comparing? It's the opposite. The eagle is devoted to its baby until it dies. Once it dies, it doesn't care anymore. And the baby is not protected anymore. With God, it's not like that. He carries you and protects you permanently because he's not going to die. So if you're in pain, he will stay in pain forever. Unlike the eagle that's going to die and not feel your pain anymore.
So even if the baby wants to fly away, like he has like a hand on the baby, he's like, don't go anywhere. That's so cute. No, it's true. Like if you try to leave like the truth or like leave God, like God will always grab you back and put you back on his back.
I always carry you. Aww. God's so kind.
Whatever, it's fine.
You know that little description of the footsteps in the sand.
Oh,
Yes,
There's
that
only
one's so-
one pair, and he's like, honey, I was carrying you. You were
Yeah, that
heavy."
one makes me so like emotional. I'm trying to hear that story.
Yeah, it's a really cute story.
No idea what you're talking about.
Because there's two footprints in the sand, and then like a man's looking at his life and he sees the two footprints in the sand, and then he sees that, and during his
We're
hard
right.
times life, there's only one pair of footprints, and he goes, God, why were you not with me when I was in the hard times? And Hashem said, what do you mean? And during those times, I was carrying you.
Oh,
Isn't that cute?
Isn't that nice? Let's say
I've heard
something.
before.
God must be really
Really?
strong and carrying me.
So they were walking along together, nicely, hand in hand. So beautiful. And all of a sudden, there's only one? Why'd you let go? I didn't let go. I picked you up.
I think we need marriage counseling upstairs.
The shoemaker?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the
Shoemaker?
shoemaker.
Oh.
Actually, need to go get taps.
Okay.
I do.
Anyway, what's your schedule now?
I don't know what
What
time
time
is
is
it? Yeah, does anyone know?
It's 11:24. It's time to go.
Is it lunchtime?
24?
It's 11:24. It's already prepared.
Oh,
my
my.
gosh. Oh, it's
I think
oh, it's Carnival now.
I need to go get lunch.
Thank you very much.
For me
A
and
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Should have brought my money with me. Thank
Oh,
you so
by the
much.
way,
We
by the way.
appreciate it.
Avraham served God out of love. Yitzchak served God out of fear. Yaakov served God out of,
Love and fear.
Comforting the river.
Love and fear.
It's a first.
which is,
Passion.
No, which is. We just learned this in school.
compassion.
Compassion.
In other words, Avraham loved God, Yitzchak feared God, and Yaakov had pity on God.
Pity? Oh. That sounds right.
And that's the best.
Pitying God is the best. Wouldn't both at the same time be the best?
You feel like combination of
Pity is a combination of love and fear.
It could be.
But people don't pity people because they love and fear. They pity people like for you.
Pity could be like, not for you. Pity could be like,
You pity somebody who's in trouble,
But like,
and God is in trouble.
but people don't like being pitied.
pity, I mean like, pathetic. Pity could also mean like, pity isn't pathetic. We see it that way.
I don't think it's that. I think people don't like being pitied because they feel like
No,
there's
we're
people for everyone to feel
we're always asking Hashem to have rachmanus, because He needs it too.
So cute. We're just like, oh, he has no feelings, and we're like, he does.
But
And
God's
then
all alone, and like it's scary to think about. Like I think in my head, I'm like, okay, but before us, what did God have? And it's so trippy, and like not. It was just Him. No, I'm saying
I know what you're
it
saying.
scares me. Like in my mind, I'm like maybe there's many gods, and God just has more than one friend. He had to make it, and then I'm like, no, it's just Him alone. And it's just too much. to me.
Reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy life.
We
Look, if
really
you're living it
appreciated
well.
this. I hope-
No, you're not. You're not existing. You're living. It's because of your wife, right?
Thank you guys.
I think you got it.